Hi there. Welcome to Sacred Mothering Mondays. I am here in Williams, Oregon, visiting my mama archetype and Orion's Nana. He's inside right now with her. And yeah, this week we are going to talk about physiology of pregnancy and nutrition that goes along with the physiological development of the fetus. And so on my way here, I recapped on this documentary that I watched called Life Before Birth in the Womb. And it talks about the week by week development of the fetus and what that looks like and what is being developed on and within this womb space. And so as soon as I found out that I was pregnant, I watched this documentary, and it really gave me an insight on what would be developing week by week, but also how I could support that development through the nutrition that I was putting into my body. And I found that to be really important because with developing a life inside of our bodies, we have to, like, most of our nutrients is being funneled into that child. And so oftentimes the mama will feel fatigued, or they'll have things happen within their bodies that shows lack of nutrition. And so really just paying attention to what the baby is needing and what the mama is needing is really vital. So within the first week of development, the baby is just multiplying. The cells, the sperm, which is the smallest cell in the body, and the egg, the sperm has found the egg and it is just multiplying. And so within the first week, it's splitting apart and starting to form this mass, right? And so first, the baby is the fetus, and then there's the placenta, and then they separate and become two different things. And the placenta is what's going to filter all of the nutrients through it to make sure that it's safe for baby, and it keeps the baby from being affected by different illnesses that the mother may carry. And so the first thing with nutrition is two things that can go through the placental barrier that can affect the baby are alcohol and tobacco, or nicotine in its broken down form. And so those are two things that I personally would recommend avoiding during your full pregnancy experience. I definitely avoided those things, and I feel as though it was really beneficial to me and to Orion. And so before I start on this nutrition journey, a lot of this information is things that I've gathered over my schooling and over just my experience and listening to my midwives and to my naturopath. And I'm not a doctor, so it is all by experience and knowledge. And you can take what resonates with you, and whatever doesn't resonate with you, you can compost it. And also, if you have any questions, you can ask me, or you can take it to your midwife or your healthcare provider and see if they're on board with any recommendations that I may give. So in the first trimester, 2 months fetal gestation, the baby's brain and the spinal cord will be the first things to develop. And so at that point of 2 months is when the neurons and like the nervous system is actually starting to fire. And so with that, I'm thinking like our brain matter is made up of fatty tissues. And so I would definitely be boosting my amount of fats that I'm taking into my body. You can do that through coconut oil or ghee or different fatty oils, avocado oil. For me, I was listening to my cravings, which is a huge part of being pregnant. And my body was telling me that I needed to intake meat. And I had been vegan for 2 years before I became pregnant. And the symbiosis of me and Orion was bringing this craving out that I need more fat to develop. So I went and I got a pot roast from a locally sourced farm and made this pot roast with a bunch of yummy veggies and ended up eating the entire thing in 2 days. Like, obviously my body needed that. That's what I was doing. But there are definitely many other ways that you can get those fats. And I recommend taking good fats throughout the entire pregnancy, because why not? You're developing a being, and our bodies definitely can utilize that in breaking it down for energy, whether it's for the baby or for yourself. So to go into the cravings a little bit, I craved meat at first, and then I realized that I started craving a lot of things from my childhood, like spaghetti and lasagna and hot dogs with sauerkraut and different things like that. And so I took my cravings and I made them into a more healthy version that really worked with my diet as it is right now. I personally have food allergies to whey and to nightshade vegetables. And so I just crafted my home cooked things from the past and created a new, healthier version of those things, and was really satisfied with taking care of those cravings in a healthy and new way. I also realized that I was craving sugar a lot. And so I talked to my midwife, who was also a naturopath, and she recommended and gave me the knowledge that when you crave sugar, oftentimes it's because you are lacking protein. And for me, I was actually anemic for my first 2 trimesters of pregnancy. And so my body was just like, I need protein, I need protein, I need protein. And it was coming up in the form of craving sugars. And so sometimes I would give myself a little bit of sugar here and there. But I really tried to stick to things like organic gummy worms that were flavored with vegetable juice, or different things that were a healthy version of the thing that I was craving. I find that to be really important, that we stick with whole foods and things that are nutritious and good for our bodies, because we have to remember that our body is literally creating a different body out of the nutrients that we are putting into it. And so having good and nutritious and whole foods, superfoods going into our body is what is creating the human within our body. And so they're going to just be full of vitality and life if we're putting vitality and life into our bodies. And I felt so energized during pregnancy. Like, my community and the people that saw me throughout that 9-month journey knew that I was getting the nutrients that I needed, because I just felt so alive and full of energy. And the baby is going to get the energy that they need regardless of if you're eating pizza and donuts. They're going to take it from your essential nutrient resources. And so that's oftentimes why the mama feels tired or depleted, because their body isn't getting what they need to also be sustained. So I would recommend boosting your intake of proteins and nutrients, and maybe even taking on a superfood. I definitely took spirulina through my the end of my 2nd trimester and all of my 3rd trimester, and it made such a difference. I wasn't anemic anymore after I started taking organic spirulina. And for those of you who don't know what spirulina is, it's an algae that is grown and harvested, and it is 280% of your daily value of B12, which B12 is found mostly in red meats and some vegetables, but it is just like a compact amount of that. And so if you can get your hands on organic spirulina, I also have a source that is really a wonderful source for organic spirulina. Get superfoods into your diet. Why not? You'll feel great, and it'll help with the overall pregnancy experience. And treat yourself. If you are having a craving that you're like, oh, I want a cupcake, maybe have that one cupcake, but don't, have a cupcake every single day. That's a little excessive. But just listening to your cravings. Our bodies are so wise, and they know what they need, and your baby is working with you to tell you what they're needing as well. And so just listening, the best thing we can do is listen. So I mentioned in the 1st trimester, the brain and the spinal cord are being developed, and so good fats are essential. In the second trimester, the body's organs are being developed. So that's the eyes, the lungs, the heart, the intestines, the digestion, all of the different parts of the body are being developed. And so you want to eat things that help with those developments. And oftentimes with vegetables, you can look at the vegetable and it'll look like one of the organs in the body, and that's actually what it helps with. So for me, I really focused around carrots. I love carrots for the eyes. And I ate a lot of watermelon, because watermelons actually look like the ovaries if you cut it in half. It's pretty spectacular. And I ate a lot of grapes for my own body, for like the breasts, and just we're developing that aspect of self too for breastfeeding. And really just all of the whole foods that you can get your hands on. In the third trimester, your baby, and I guess your body is putting on fat. And so especially the baby, they're going to be putting on their fat and growing in size over the last 3 months. And so again, good fats, lots of good fats. I ate a lot of ghee, which ghee is clarified butter, and it's actually one of the most fatty and amazing things that you can do for your body. I followed the tradition of Ayurveda, where I made khichdi a lot, and khichdi is also a very body nourishing food that has different herbs, and it has some grains and vegetables and fats, and it's just meant to nourish the entire body to the deepest parts of the body. And you can probably look up a recipe. I use fennel and coriander and cumin as my spices that I put into the khichdi, and then just lather it with ghee and call it good. That's also what is recommended for the fourth trimester, which is actually what most consider the postpartum phase. And in the postpartum phase, you also want to be just nourishing your body to its capacity, because you just gave birth to this being. Your body is in recovery mode. The baby is really trying to get nutrients. And so you just want to be packing your body with nutrients. A book that I recommend for the postpartum phase is called The First 40 Days. And this book entails all sorts of recipes that are really high nutrition, easy to make, things that you could have your partner or a friend, or even if you're feeling up to it. But I actually recommend that you stay pretty mellow during the first 40 days. That time is really, in traditional cultures, the first 40 days is a time for the mama to be nurtured. It's nurturing the mother while the mother nurtures the baby, because that is literally your only job, is to get into a good rhythm with breastfeeding and a good latch, and really just working at becoming a mother. Like, congratulations, you just had a baby, and like, it is a lot of work, and it's going to be amazing, the journey that you get to create with this being, especially if you take that time in the first 40 days to nurture yourself and nurture that baby. And so nutrition, water is a huge thing for the entire pregnancy and all of postpartum. You're literally creating a life, and I believe it's 78% of our body is made of water. Wow, right? And so you want to be hydrated, and what that looks like is, if you're going and you're urinating, then you should have urine that is pretty close to clear. If it is yellow and maybe has like a pungent smell to it, that means that you're dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, there's a lot of things that can happen as complications in the pregnancy, and one of them is birthing the child early. And so being hydrated is just, I couldn't stress the importance of it. And then postpartum hydration is also super important, because your body is trying to create milk, and the more water that is in your body, the more easily the milk is going to come into your breasts, and you're going to feel great. Your body is going to be hydrated and just able to function and heal a lot more completely. So water, water, water. Water is sacred. Water is life. It's in our womb. It's all throughout our body. And it's so necessary to have it. If you don't have clean drinking water, which what I mean by clean drinking water is non-fluorinated and non-chlorinated water. So if you live in cities where your water is being contaminated by fluoride and chlorine, you can find online, there are springs that you can go to fill up water jugs. You buy a water jug for $30 and you fill it up, and then you're drinking clean spring water straight from the earth, and it is going to literally change the cells in your body and change your life. So I really recommend eating the good food, eating the good fats, and drinking clean water. So amazing. Our bodies can create humans out of the nutrition that we give it. And I feel so thankful to be able to share this information that I've learned and that I've got to experience. And yeah, if this resonates with you, please drop a comment. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I will leave my email address in the description section. Please tune in next week and we will see you then. I'd like to share a song that is really dear to my heart. A dear friend, Juliet, made this song for Orion, and feel free to change Orion's name to your dear baby's name or your fetus's name, and just sing it to your children. They love hearing our voices, and that's just one of the deepest ways we can connect with our babies. So I'm so excited to share this with you. Baby Orion, sweetness and love light are flowing forth from your eyes, and you've come here to join us. Be with us, show us you're growing the size of our hearts. Baby Orion, sweetness and love light are pouring forth from your eyes, and you've come here to join us. Be with us, show us you're growing the size of our hearts. Until next time.